The supermarket told you to put a t-shirt on in Grenada.
I was in Grenada, so it's 34 degrees. I'm walking around in flip flops and shorts. And obviously, rightly as I middle of the day.
Nice
Good evening. Welcome to our first grants at 6 o'clock. That's what I'm going to call it. Makes it sound much more exciting, doesn't it? You know, that's exciting. Hang on, I've just got to find the right. Agenda.
Picked up two of those, if one of them.
Sorry, I'm just finding the right agenda because there's many meetings this evening. Exciting for us all. Lovely. So starting with, have we got any apologies?
That's for it.
Fabulous. And he is being subbed, I believe, but I don't think she's here yet.
Yes, by Councillor Crossley.
That's fine. I'm not 100% sure she can get here before ComDev, so that's not a problem. We're okay. That's fine. Any declarations of interest? Gillian?
Good for surgery.
Lovely. I also have a declaration of interest on the community larder. I am a member of it, of the Swish event. Any others? It does mean I won't vote on that one, just so everybody's aware. Lovely. So going on to grants, just so everyone's aware, the WI have pulled their grant. That is because I've just had a conversation with them. They are no longer eligible due to the announcement that they made last week. And one of our grant policies, if anyone wants to look it up, it is 5.1.9. You can look it up in your own time. Moving on then. So Melksham Food Bank and Lifeline. It does say Lifeline. I've got some people to speak. I know I have. Here's Denny. Oh, fabulous. Here's Denny. Wonderful. You want to come up and you can sit in these chairs if you like. No, you don't like. Seems like a waste of ink.
Yes.
Everybody. Fabulous. Do you want to tell us what you'd like?
We'd like lots of money, please.
That's how it works.
Just a little bit of history. Melksham Food Bank has been going for many years, but earlier this year we actually became a CIO, and therefore we've got a new name, the Melksham Food Bank and Lifeline CIO. It's not just dealing with food; it's the Lifeline aspect where we're also signposting and helping people to get additional resources. So it's not just about food, it's a much wider concept. We're supporting, well, when we did the application, 180 to 200 people per week through food poverty and social isolation and all the other issues relating to we deal with. And of course, that fluctuates. Even today, we've had an additional 2 people referred to us. So we keep on getting more and more people coming. As I'm sure you found with the larder, there is that huge demand. And particularly at this sort of time of the year as well, where costs can be tighter because of the heating and people don't know whether they can afford to eat or heat their own homes. We're applying for a grant of £1,000. We are putting on and wanting to put on breakfasts once a month, a cooked breakfast for our guests. We're getting roughly 25 to 30, sometimes slightly more than that, people coming on a monthly basis for their breakfast. For some of those, it's the only hot meal they have, either that week or perhaps even that month. So it is a very important aspect of the work that we do. So we're asking for £1,000. The total cost, including the volunteers, and if we were going to include the rent and all those sort of aspects, it's about a third of the total cost of what we're asking for Melksham Council to assist us with. £800 of it will be on the food, and roughly £200 will be on consumables of the plates and things that we use, the cups. There is a slight error on page 2 with the service name. We put as Breakfast 2025, it's 2026. So apologies for that.
I'm afraid we can't allow that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to call it Breakfast 2025 then. So I don't know if it's, I mean, you've got the application. I don't want to read through it because you can read it and you have read it yourselves. Have you got any other questions?
Should I say, anyone got any questions? No. So the way I'm going to take this, just so everyone knows, I'm going to let everyone speak first, then we'll go through each one and make a vote on if we're giving and how much we're going to give as well. I actually came to your celebration of you becoming a charity. I know several of us did. I think we were all thrilled that you'd got the charity status. And I know when you last came for a grant, we told you to come for more. because we're all incredibly proud of everything you do. So thank you very much for all the hard work you're doing, because I know that it is a service in this town that is people are incredibly thankful for, and just can't really thank you enough for everything you're doing. Thank you. Lovely. So we'll move on to the next one, Melksham Lions. I can already see we've got some lovely people in the room to represent Melksham Lions.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Paul Carter. Simon, do you want to come up?
As you know, Lions have been around for 51 years, and for my sins, I was there at day one. And we have been trundling around at Christmas with our Christmas float for 51 years. And you all know what we do throughout the year. And sadly, the day before, 2 days before the carnival, the float suspension collapsed, and it cost us £749. We have paid for the materials, but not the labour. But it would be, they are so well known, despite one of our friends from Devizes called Manus and Davina float, they called them the Thing on Facebook, which we weren't very impressed about. But an awful lot of people have very fond memories of Manus and Davina. So we would love to receive. Is there any questions?
I did want to just clear up one thing, and that's to say that you might notice in our eligibility criteria too, we don't fund people who fund other people. Obviously, that is what the Lions do, because it's for something specific and not to go towards kind of the pot of money that's to charity.
I understand.
That's absolutely fine. I just wanted to make sure that was said publicly, so there was no confusion around why we obviously were potentially giving money to the Lions.
I just want to say, having been with you recently at Leaks and watching kids' faces, seeing Santa Claus and sleigh, it is just so wonderful to see.
Yes.
It's really lovely. So yeah.
When Manus and Davina went round the carnival the year before last, I had to keep wiping my eyes because the kids were so enthralled. It was magic.
Anyone got any other questions? Thank you very much, Simon. Up next, Wiltshire Digital Drive.
We've got Marie.
Oh, mine.
Hello. I'm
Given what you do, Marie.
yes. Yeah. Apologies that I can't.
Question. Can I ask you a quick question? Can you see us?
I can see you. Yes.
Good,
And
thank
I
you.
assume you can hear me.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me just. I tried to make my window bigger and I just can't do. Anyway. Yes. Hello. Sorry, I can't be there. I'm in Devon with an ill family member, so it wasn't possible to get to Melksham today. But thank you for having me online. Is it best if I just talk a little bit about who we are and what we do to begin with?
Yes, please, because I think you're the only one on the list who we don't really know what you do. So it'd be really helpful if you could give us a bit more of an overview.
Great. Okay. So we are a digital inclusion project. We're not for profit, and we operate across Wiltshire, but the proposal that we've put into yourselves is Melksham specific. We basically take donations of laptops and devices that people don't need any longer, and we refurbish them and then give them or get them to people who do need them, who can't afford a device themselves. Digital poverty, we arose through COVID basically, and you know, the lockdown where everyone was indoors, and it became really apparent the disparity between people who have access to the internet and suitable devices to use and people who don't. And actually the world's becoming far more digitalized, and it's really hard for people who don't have appropriate access to technology to be able to keep up with things, whether it's booking appointments online or getting cheaper deals on their you know, household utilities or convenience of shopping. People have become housebound, education, people who are studying, trying to apply for jobs. You know, it's an issue that sort of crosses generations, we find. So we have a network of donation stations across Wiltshire, and I believe the Melksham Town Council are actually thinking about joining us and becoming a donation station, which is exciting. And members of the public can drop off their devices, and then we take them back to our workshop, which is based in down in the sort of bottom end of Melksham. And our volunteer IT team refurbish them. And then we have a couple of different ways that we distribute devices, but the main thing is through a long-term loan scheme. These devices would be gifted because they would, assuming if we were successful for funding, the funding would cover the cost of the refurbishment of the device, and then they would be gifted to the people who would receive them. We work with a network of referral partners, and those are people like schools or charities, local organisations, people who know the families or the individuals who need the device, and they apply to us on their behalf. And we do that intentionally, partly because we're a really small team. There's just me and our director, and we're both part-time. So, you know, we're limited for our resources and need to use them wisely, obviously, and partly because it didn't feel, one of our referral criteria is that people shouldn't be able to afford to buy their own device themselves, and it felt inappropriate to be asking people to prove that they couldn't afford to purchase a device rather than having one through our scheme. The other things that we ask are that people need the device to do something positive in their life, to make a positive change. And as I mentioned earlier, that can be as simple as sort of someone wanting to stay connected with friends and family if they're struggling to get out, knowing what's going on in their local area and retaining independence, or it can be all the way up to sort of jobs and studying, and we've even had people set up businesses through having devices from us. And then the last thing is that we ask that people aren't restricted from using the internet because they've caused harm to someone else. And we're trying to sort of support people with a bit of online training. We did run a skills program, but as a pilot, but we're too small a team to be able to offer full training, but we do have a sort of resource program that we link people to when they take one of our devices, because we're keen to know that people are sort of safe and not being exposed to greater risk through being online. Hopefully that covers the basics of our organisation. Is it helpful for me to go on to talk about the sort of Melksham specific proposal, or do you have other questions?
Let me just ask, does anyone have a specific question yet? No. If you want to go on, Marie, and talk about the specific proposal.
So how we work with many sort of funding pots, the small funding pots that we get from organisations such as yourself, where they're specific to an area, we basically ring fence the funding. So we allocate a number of devices that the funding would cover. I believe, and you have to accept my apologies, I wrote the original application and then I was on extended leave over the summer, and I know Natalie put it in. I believe that she said that we would ring fence 15 laptops, but if that's different from what's on your paperwork, then I apologise. It's just usually I write the applications, but I wasn't here, so let's work with the idea that it's 15 laptops. We would ring fence those for specific Melksham postcodes. I know in my application I wrote about the areas of Melksham North that are particularly struggling at the moment. Also hearing the gentleman from Melksham Food Bank talking about how they've sort of set up a new lifeline service. You know, it might be possible that we could work with the food bank to distribute the devices. We would approach organisations who are in Melksham and let them know that we had devices available, and we just need to check eligibility in terms of the postcodes being specific to Melksham, and then we would pass those devices to the local organisations who would distribute them to the people who are going to receive them. And as I mentioned earlier, they would be gifted devices, so we wouldn't expect them back, which we asked for as part of our loan scheme. If people don't need them any longer, we ask that they come back so that we can refurbish them again and give them to someone else. But in this case, they would be the recipients to keep. We do also have data cards available as part of our work with a national digital inclusion project who gift us SIM cards, basically, that we can put in the laptop so that people still have that internet connectivity even when they can't afford to have Wi-Fi at home. And the funding would cover the 15 laptops and our staff time. And in terms of the sort of in-kind and volunteer time, we cost our volunteers time at £50 an hour because they are experienced IT professionals. And if we were paying for that service from someone else, then it would cost us at least that. And then we usually, for our loan scheme, we have a small application fee that we ask organisations to pay to help us cover some of the costs of running the project, but that would be waived in this instance. So I believe we've applied for £1,000, and we would, I've just got to try and do quick maths. I can't because I'm talking as well. So the volunteer time I calculated would come to £750, and the waive fees would total £375.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? So I have one question. You're saying you're giving it out to Melksham postcodes. Can you tell me how you're making sure they're not Melksham without postcodes?
So I was thinking about this whilst I was waiting to come into the meeting. I think what I'm not from Melksham myself, so I would need to, I think, have a list from Melksham Council of the areas or the streets or where the boundary is, and then I would be able to track using Postcode Finder which postcodes, or if you already have a list of postcodes that are eligible, we could use that if that could be shared with me. But I will check with my contact that at the council that the postcodes that I'm looking at are the ones that are eligible, because obviously I understand that Melksham without aren't included in this funding pot.
Right, and so are you going to Melksham without for funding as well?
No, we haven't applied to them. No.
You haven't. Okay, so would you be able to confirm that this money would be going only to people who are Melksham Town residents? If we give you the postcodes, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. If you give us the postcode, what we'll do is when we approach we do already work with a few organisations in Melksham anyway, and any others that we approach, we just have to say that we'd give them specific the beginnings of the postcodes and ask them to check with the families that they were resident in those areas.
Yeah, it's not the beginnings you need
Okay.
the whole postcode, just so you know.
Okay.
It's so Melksham's a very strange town. If you don't quote that one when you watch this back home again, don't quote that I said that. It's strange in its makeup, in the sense that we are the middle of the town and we are circled by Melksham without, but fundamentally, if you were looking at us as a postal town, we have the same postcode. It's all SN12.
I see.
So
In that case,
it's a bit confusing, so it would have to be the full
No,
postcode.
that's fine. I mean, so we don't request that data as part of our application generally, as part of our sort of public service. But if we were awarded the funding and this was something we'd do, we'd just take the list of postcodes from you and we'd ask the organisations who we worked with to confirm with families that they were, or individuals, that they were resident in one of those areas, and ask them to check the proof of it. I think it would be a simple enough thing to administer as long as we had the right reference sheet to work from.
Okay, great. I would recommend trying to get money from Melksham without as well, because it sounds like it's a good project. So therefore,
Okay. Thank you.
haven't suspended standing orders. Although technically you're a councillor, so you are allowed to.
All I want to say is actually, it's the end of January to get your application into Melksham without.
I was going to say that as well.
Sorry.
I was going to say you've only got till the end of Jan, so I would get it in because I think that if we do, this seems like quite a worthwhile project. So, and I wouldn't want our without colleagues to be or residents to go without.
No, that is really helpful to know. Thank
I'm
you.
going to leave that there. Thank you very
No,
much.
that's fine. I will look into it. Thank
We're gonna
you. That's
move
helpful.
Fabulous. So we're moving on to celebrating age Wiltshire. Sarah?
Thank you very much, councillors. Just a little bit of background. So Celebrating Age is an organisation which is a partnership. It's been running for 8 years now. And it was used to be, the lead partner was the Music Centre in Grafton, but they changed some of their strategy, etc. And so the lead partner is now Age UK Wiltshire, hence the application from ourselves. So Celebrating Age Wiltshire is an older people's programme, which is about lots of different things, but it might be a one-off event, which is what we're applying to the area board for when we put an application in the area board. So it might be a one-off event, which might be, for example, there was one down that was produced last year, which was around a theatre group coming in and talking around doing theatre performance around endangered species of birds. But the reason we're talking about that was because it's about reminiscence, and people can link in and hear about things and talk about things that matter to old people that they can talk about. And it was performance and dance and then conversation. What we've been doing and piloting and Celebrating Age itself has been doing some pilots with men's groups. And the reason for doing some stuff with men's groups is often men weren't joining something which was a creative arts programme because they felt reticent for doing that. And because they hadn't had the opportunity whilst at work and having hobbies like some of those things. So, and people weren't coming forward. But there were definitely a group of people who were men who either bereaved or didn't join in because of hearing loss. But and there were single people who then had very little contact with other people, and they thought it wouldn't be for them. So what was piloted was a programme which happened in Melksham, was the first one. There's another one in Trowbridge, and we're looking for funding in other places to do these. Was a men's group that was set up to have creative conversations, and it's around an event. So what you're doing is bringing people together to do some activity which makes it easier to have those conversations. Now, Men's Shed's obviously another example of doing this. But this was about doing something quite different and connecting people in with what that kind of creativity that perhaps they thought they didn't have. In Melksham, they produced a song around this, which was all about the grey people and how it felt being a single a bereaved person in particular, and how you obviously sometimes you're quite invisible to other people and you don't know how to have those conversations. So what the men's group have done, there's been funding in the past that have helped the men's group set up and do some work together. They've managed to keep going as a group and they meet regularly on a Tuesday, but what they've not got is that intervention that they want to have, which is a small amount of money to keep them going, to keep their creative activity going. So what we wanted to do is this is a self-supporting group on the whole. They do sometimes run out of steam on what they're doing, but having an artist come in and do that stimulation once a month keeps the self-supporting group going. And not only does it work as a group doing something creative, but they're self-supporting in lots of other ways, whereby recently somebody had a fall and ended up in hospital. But what they picked up then as a group was the need, and they were checking in on him and found that he hadn't got a care package put in place, he hadn't got support. But by knowing other people in the group, because we share partners and information around that they knew who to ask, they knew where to go. So it's a creativity, but it's a conduit for supporting that group of men to be able to. So there's about 9 or 10 people who attend, but what we're asking for is some funding for this specific group just to keep them going for once a month, and that's what we're looking at. So we've got funding for other bits and pieces, but we haven't got anything for this group.
Any questions from anyone? My only question, Sarah, is are you expanding it to more people than just the people who are currently in it, or is it just a
We do get new members.
Okay.
Yeah, there are new members. There's 2 new people come because actually some people who leave. Somebody who's leaving who emailed me last week actually to say he's leaving the group because he's moving somewhere else. But thank you for so much because it's given him confidence to do so much more and actually be out and active. And he hadn't been out of his home for 3 years. So it's that he's found confidence to do what he wants to do, to move and to be where he wants to be. And that makes a difference. But we've got 2 new members. I think it came in the last weeks or so. So it is and it is a bit word of mouth, but we get referrals through from social prescribers. Since or from Sarah, who's doing Community Connection, she'll come across people. And then there's been other kind of things that spin-offs, which was it's cooking group. Then some of the people went into that and then helped build up all of those.
Thank you. I think that's everything from everyone. Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Next is Friends of Giffords. Welcome back. Nice to see you again.
Okay, so just briefly, Friends of Giffords, a patient-led charity now, just a charity status over the last with an aim to support patients of Gifford surgery and the wider community. And just we've had charity aims, so we're not just limiting ourselves to patients. So we do lots and lots of things for patients. At the weekend, obviously, you saw us here doing, which was hugely successful. We're very happy with how that went. So what we're here for is we are organising a Christmas lunch on Christmas Day at Spencer's. I think in the grant application, 180 people, including the volunteers, but we've capped that now after a risk assessment at Spencer's to about 130. We've already had about 50 people sign up for that, and we're in the press next week. This week, and so we're expecting a bit more of a flurry of that. So the aim is to provide a Christmas meal for people who are on their own, people who are vulnerable, mental health issues, people who can't afford to cook a meal for themselves, people who just want to, have some community spirit. We want to make it a joyous occasion. We've put in a grant for Costa Spencer's, which is and also for a contribution towards food and decoration. We've costed it up at about 2,200, including a slight buffer. So it'd be marvellous.
Any questions from anyone? Can I just say I'm really glad that you're going to Spencer's. I think it's a much better fit in terms of the fact that they've got a kitchen.
Yeah, so
I think that's quite helpful in cooking a dinner.
it's very accessible, and it's I mean, I know this is right in the centre of Melksham, but it's not too far.
Although Spencer's has got probably better parking facilities than the Assembly Hall. So I'm really thrilled that you've managed to get Spencer's sorted, because I think that this is a really valuable and needed service.
And we helped them with Sue Mortimer's one yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Just that we.
You're brave. I couldn't move yesterday. Lovely. Any questions from anybody else? Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming along. So up next, Melksham Community Larder.
I still can't move.
Okay, so Melksham Community Larder, I think everybody knows around saying what we actually do. It's really hard to apply for a grant actually, because we are just a group of volunteers. We do have a bank account, we do have 2 signatories to that bank account, but we spend virtually no money other than our insurance every year, because we collect for free, we collect free food, we don't have any rent to pay at the Roundhouse. There is an SMA coming from the town council for the Roundhouse. And so we have no expenses, we have no money coming in. And we virtually have, except, as I say, except insurance, which is £175 a month, our liability insurance, our public liability insurance. And when we need any money, actually, we look to our friends over there who help out tremendously. But one of the things that we did move, the larder is about sustainability. It's about the fact that an awful lot of food gets thrown away. It's not just food that gets thrown away. It is actually clothes as well. And as the Friends of Gifford will have found out, Toy Drive was fantastic as well. And it's something which people really do. They don't want to see things be thrown away. Twice a year, in March and in September, we actually go to the Assembly Hall. We just it's a community scheme where people actually they come in and they bring their clothes in on hangers. We sort them out, so that it all starts on Sunday. It's 3 hours on Sunday, and people come in with their tokens, which we've given them when they brought clothes in, and they take clothes back out again. And I know it's incredibly well supported. We probably have about 100 people there who actually are involved, but it's very hard to put a grant application in when you don't actually fit some of the criteria, because you're not a CIC, you're not a charity. And there's absolutely no point us becoming that because of the small amount of money that we run on. Because if we did any of that, we would end up having to pay, accountants' fees and all the rest of it for £200 a year, 300 or 400, for 300 or 400 at the very most. So I apologise that there's not all the details that you might have wanted. And also, I suddenly realised in September, if I didn't get it into this one, we would be over the date for on March the 20th, which I have booked for March the 20th for the Swish event. So it's 3 hours on 2 Sundays next year.
Any questions? Pat?
I need to say that at the beginning of the meeting, I must have dozed off for a second because I forgot to.
I just had that exact thought. I was like, actually, Pat, you needed to declare your interest as well. Anyone got any other questions on it? No?
Struggle backwards.
We can all just sort of slightly laugh at you as you struggle your way through. I wouldn't do it to anybody else.
No, I know.
The joy of choice.
I know. The joy of helping out. The
Joys of children who you force into positions of councils. God. Lovely. Moving on. Friends of Rivermead. Have I got anybody here for them? Is there anybody online for them?
No.
No? Okay. So this is hire fee, just so everybody knows. It's to hire the park, King George V, for their autumn and Easter trails. Can't say anything else on it because I don't know the info as you have. And last but certainly not least, Fear Free.
Yeah, Peter Clark online, who's also in Devon, I think.
Yes, I am. Firstly, let me apologise for us not being there. Our CEO is sick, and the head of marketing that would normally have been there, she had a personal commitment, so they wrote me in, and I'm afraid I do live in Devon, and it was just a last minute thing they've called me in. So apologies for not being there. We'd love to have been there. Let me just tell you a little bit more about what we're looking at. Back in March last year, we received a grant to run an event, which is supporting the Violence Against Women and Girls strategy, and it's also for Trowbridge. So we received the funding to do an event in Trowbridge, which is called Free the Night, and it was hugely successful. It attracted a lot of media interest and television interest, etc., and we was vastly oversubscribed. But it cost a lot of money to do, and that's a fair part of it. But we did have a grant towards that. We were then approached by many people, but Melksham Town Council approached us to see if we would do the same, or if we were willing to look at doing the same in Melksham. And because we are one of the mayor's chosen charities, absolutely, we will put everything we have into doing it. Sorry, I can't say that.
Oh, sorry.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say.
The mayor was going to say, because she's in the room, that you were her chosen charity, but you said it, so it was fine.
So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really am. So we've been working with the town council about replicating a Free the Night event, which is a march, a glow stick march through the town on International Women's Day. So we're looking around the 8th of March next year. And last time when we did it, we were so oversubscribed, it was unbelievable. We've been working with the council, which was wonderful. And what we want to do is just this event where we march through the town and raise the awareness of abuse, whether that's at home as in domestic abuse or whether that's abuse as in violence against women and girls, and then offer signposting to where people can get help. So we want to raise that as an event, and it was very much supported. So we put in a small application for a grant, which we hope that you will consider us for. And we're working with the Hayley and with Fran to see whatever other costs we can reduce by free parking and volunteer support that we can get. Does anybody have any questions about it? I don't know how to.
Any questions?
It's a
No,
profile event. It's a marketing type event. But we want to really showcase what Melksham is and how wonderful it is.
Right. We already know the answers. It's fine. Did you want to come in?
No, I
I'm
was
sure
just
you
going to say,
do.
obviously, I would like to see this supported. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm very passionate about, hence choosing Fear Free as being one of my charities for the year.
I think as I spend more time in my life than I like dealing with violence against women and girls, a very close thing to my heart, and I would like to see us to support this one as well. And also I'd like to say I know a number of Chippenham Trowbridge town councillors who rave about how brilliant the night is. So despite the fact that I won't be here on International Women's Day, I still think you should support it. Anyway, I'm going to take each one in turn. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us from Devon. Apparently Devon's the place to be. I'm going to take each.
It's very wet here at the moment. Believe me, it's not the place to be at the moment.
Have you re-added that up? Does it say I've added it up?
I don't think it's all completely right. So we need
£5,879.98.
Yeah, that's what I make it on, but it says 5079.
that's a stuck page. Can we just get confirmation on that?
we just.
So I'm going to take each one in turn and we'll vote on firstly if we're giving them a grant and then also if we're giving them the full amount. You might have seen us manically messaging each other. That's because we were trying to find it. We used to have part of our policy that we would only give 50% of a total cost of a project. That has been since removed from our policy, but you do obviously still have to do the payment in kind. So unless you comfortable with that?
Yeah, it's the wording's match funding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to match fund, but you can do match funding with volunteer time.
Yes.
So that's fine. The actual bit where we used to say we only funded 50% of a total project has been removed from our policy.
On a similar note, can we just check for the Fear Free one? Obviously, their reserves. We do state that we won't give a grant to anyone with reserves greater than 20,000.
Yes, but when you look at their running costs,
71,000.
I think when you look at their running costs, though, I looked at it and thought their running costs are significantly higher.
The reserves are about 20%. I think.
Yeah, it's they're
As long as we're.
yeah, I looked at that as well, but when I then looked at their running costs, I thought actually your running costs are much higher and therefore you've probably only got enough to keep yourself going, as Ian said, for about 6 months. I think for a charity like Fear Free, they've probably keep themselves going for a bit longer. Lovely. So let's take each one in turn and then we'll vote on whether we're giving the full amount for it. Just so everyone's aware, we can cover the full amount. We do have the amount of money to cover the full amount in the budget. So starting with Melksham Food Bank and Lifeline CIO, all those in favour of supporting? Lovely. And all those in favour of supporting the full amount? Fabulous, thank you very much. That's £1,000 to Melksham Food Bank. So the Melksham Lions are asking for 500. Hang on a minute. Numbers were never my strong point. £559.98. That's very specific. Why would you not Anyway, all those in favour of giving Melksham Lions the money, and all those in favour of giving them the full amount. Fabulous, thank you very much. We do want the 2p back. You know, if we accidentally give you a 2p more, we want it back. So Wiltshire Digital Drive CIC, all those in favour? Yeah. And all those in favour of giving the full amount? Fabulous, thank you very much. Celebrating Age Wiltshire, all those in favour? And all those in favour of giving the full amount? Fabulous, thank you very much. So Friends of Gifford Surgery, all those in favour? Gillian, you're abstaining. That's fine. And all those in favour of giving the full amount? Fabulous, thank you very much. That's £1,000 to Friends of Gifford. St Melton Community Larder for facilities hire, all those in favour? Myself and Pat have abstained. All those in favour of giving both lots of hire amount? Fabulous, thank you very much. So Friends of Rivermead, all those in favour of giving KGV hire?
I don't, because they're not here.
Yeah, we'll come back to them. Let's go to Fear Free. So all those in favour of Fear Free? Thank you. All, and in favour of giving the full amount? Fabulous. So coming back to Friends of Rivermead, what would people like to do? Would you like us to ask if they're happy to defer it to the next one? But the problem is that is June. They will miss it.
Personally, I think for 120 quid, they're doing stuff in the park, which is getting people out in the park.
Well, it's for the children. So
I understand that. It was just I wanted a bit more detail, really.
I understand that. So from what I can gauge from what they're doing, and I only know this from a brief conversation with their head teacher actually quite a while ago, they are just doing, it's 2 kind of days where they're out in the park doing different things and finding different things in the park, and it's just giving them a time to be out in a different arena. Yeah, yes, we will be charging them. They're asking for the higher charge.
Okay.
So all those in favour of Friends of Rivermead, and all those in favour of giving the full amount? Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending this evening. Thank you for your applications. We look forward to hearing what you've done with your money. Thank you, everybody who's joined online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
School.
Yeah, we have it. How about for charity?